I can tell you. Pretty sure. Yeah. That's this. Yeah, but that's me.
Don't hear that. It's like shared ranges.
Which is why, what's his name? I don't know. That's the reason. We got.
Yeah, there's make it hard to figure. Oh, you know what you need.
Yeah.
I'll shoot it
Good morning, everyone. This is the August 18, 2023 post-commission meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look over the agenda? A motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion to approve, Commissioner Rice.
Have a second?
Commissioner Spangler, second.
All in favor of approving the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda passes. Have a roll call, please.
Roll call, Commissioner Beverly.
Present.
Commissioner Birchfield.
Commissioner Carter. Commissioner Cherry. Here. Commissioner Green.
Here.
Commissioner Halsey. Commissioner Isbell. Present. Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Russell.
Here.
Commissioner Spangler.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
Vice Chair Faulkner.
Here,
And Chairman Parton. We have one.
we have a quorum. Approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look them over from the July meeting?
Commissioner Green. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of the minutes approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries. Do we have any reports of decertification from the subcommittee hearing yesterday?
We do. Would you like me to read the statement?
Yes, please.
All right. All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve our own departments or some we know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from the vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, it may have an appearance of impropriety. Applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes. Yesterday, we had 23 matters from the informal hearing subcommittee. And we had the issue of Warren County Sheriff's Office and Christopher Ladd, who's surrendering his certification. The Columbia Police Department and Jordan Barber, and a default order of decertification. Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Brian Beck, recommendation of default decertification. Memphis Police Department and Armando Bustamante, recommendation was a default order of decertification. Tennessee Department of Safety in the matter of Nicholas Collins, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. The Laverne Police Department, matter of Burrell Davis, it was recommended to put that in pending status due to pending litigation. The Winchester Police Department, in the matter of Kristen Bell Cruz, the recommendation was to also be placed in pending status due to pending litigation. Franklin County, in the matter of Emily Ferris, an order of no action was taken. White County Sheriff's Office, matter of Robert Ferris, recommendation was an order of default decertification. Memphis Police Department, matter of Patrick Ferguson, the recommendation was default order of decertification. The Metro Nashville Police Department, in the matter of Sidley Gomez, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. Tennessee Department of Safety, Dakota Jacob. Mr. Jacob offered to surrender his certification yesterday. I will leave that for you guys to accept. Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the matter of Joseph Jones. Was the recommendation to move that matter to a full hearing in front of the full commission. The Chattanooga Police Department, in the matter of Stephen Jones, the recommendation was to decertify his certification. The Memphis Police Department, in the matter of Melanie Liggins, the recommendation was default order of decertification. Memphis Police Department, matter of Larry Matthews, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. The University of Memphis Public Safety, in the matter of Marcus Dolan, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. The Memphis Police Department, the matter of Annabelle Ordonez, recommendation was default order of decertification. Tennessee Department of Safety, in the matter of Samuel Outlaw, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. Knoxville Police Department, matter of Joseph Roberts, the recommendation was default order of decertification. The Memphis Police Department, the matter of Cortez Roby, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. The Bartlett Police Department, the matter of Charles Siegel, the recommendation was a default order of decertification. The Memphis Police Department, the matter of James Sewell, the recommendation was to take no action. And the Tennessee Department of Safety, matter of Ronnie Swafford, the recommendation was to have default order of decertification.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept or disapprove these recommendations?
Comment. Could you do Chattanooga? I think you said Jones.
Matter of Stephen Johnson.
You said Jones.
I forgot to thank you.
Just want to get the record.
Any other questions or comments? No motion to accept.
Commissioner Wright, motion to accept.
Commissioner Beverly, second.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, waivers for pre-employment.
Brownsville Police Department requests a military discharge waiver for Serena Ann Dybel, hired August 24th of 2023. In April of 2002, Ms. Dybel was discharged from the United States Army with an uncharacterized discharge for a defective enlistment agreement. Is there anybody here from Brownsville Police Department? Is Ms. Dybel here?
Please identify yourself, please.
Lieutenant Patrick Black, Brownsville Police Department.
Thank you, Lieutenant. What would you like to tell the Post Commission regarding this issue?
I appear before the commission today to request a military waiver for Ms. Serena Debo. She came to us in June of this year as an applicant for an open position. During her interview, she advised us that she had an uncharacterized discharge from the Hawaii Army National Guard. She was very open and forthcoming with us about the reason for that discharge. And through the background process, we found her to be a more than suitable candidate for a position with our agency.
Are you Ms. DeVos?
Yes, I'm Misty.
What would you like to say to us, please?
I would just, like to request the waiver. I mean, I'm a hardworking individual. I continue to do better every single day. I don't quit. I continue to educate myself. I've learned from my mistakes. It was nearly 20 years ago. And I think I was young and I'm ready to move on.
Any questions from commissioners?
Commissioner Chair, I just have a couple of questions. Ms. Dybel, just for some clarification, looking at your statement and the discharge paperwork, it looks like the command separated you with an uncharacterized discharge. And was that based on the idea, and you requested a discharge because you weren't able to get your advanced infantry training and just was extending out too
Yes.
long and a lot of frustration?
Yes. I moved from Michigan and transferred to the Hawaii National Guard at Barbers Point. And it was just a difficult time, I think, and it was hard to get them to sit down with me and get my date. And that's the main reason.
Okay, well, they had listed on the discharge paperwork, there was a mention of unsatisfactory participation. But it wasn't a matter of you not showing up for drills, it was a matter of not being able to get your AIT scheduled.
I'm assuming
right?
so, yes,
Okay,
because I didn't miss drills.
right, okay. And again, it looks like the command was kind of threading a needle and kind of working in between to give you this uncharacterized discharge so that it wouldn't reflect poorly on your service, because it was satisfactory service you were rendering, but it was a matter of not being able to follow up and get into the training that you needed to advance in your military career. Is that correct? I'm just trying to make sure that we understand.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner School.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greene County Sheriff's Office.
The Greene County Sheriff's Office requests a criminal record waiver for Jesse Earl Sharp. In July of 2002, Mr. Sharp was arrested in Greenville, Tennessee for driving under the influence. Mr. Sharp pled guilty and was convicted of DUI first. Mr. Sharp has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Please identify yourself.
Chief Deputy David Beverly, Greene County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, what would you like us to know about this?
Mr. Sharp has been employed with us since November of 2020. He received a pre-employment waiver from TCI at that time due to discharge. Since then, here just within the last couple of months, he has passed and met all requirements through our agency to go on to the patrol division, which is required waiver from this commission. And we're here this morning just to ask the commission for this criminal records waiver. In July 19, 2002, Greene County, he received a charge of DUI. He's met all the requirements, including all the court orders since then, 21 years ago. 2006, he enlisted in the United States Army, served just over 10 years and left the Army with an honorable discharge. He's proven in the 2 years and 8 months that he's been employed with us that he is a valuable employee in our corrections department. And we believe he's going to be a valuable employee in our patrol division. So we're here today just to ask this commission respectfully to give us the waiver so he can be enrolled in the January Toledo Academy. We will need this waiver before that.
Okay, is that his corrections uniform?
Yes and no. On special events, yes, such as this. Usually they wear a polo shirt. But this is what he's going to be wearing if we have this waiver and he goes to the academy.
So he's not currently working in patrol?
Not yet, no.
All right.
He's passed all the tests and the physical fitness tests and interview for patrol.
All right. Mr. Sharp, what would you like to tell the commissioners?
I learned my lesson from the DUI that I had 21 years ago. Since then, I've served in 3 combat areas for the United States Army. I did reserve time. I did plenty of active duty time. I retired as an E7 from the Army. But I've always felt the capacity to serve, and now that I no longer serve my country, I just want to serve my family.
Questions from the commissioners?
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Chair.
opposed? Excuse me? What?
Yeah, that was a motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Terry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just let the record reflect, Mr. Beverly and I have no relation. I just wanted to make that noted.
oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Both good luck.
No, there we go. Thank you.
Just to recount, I believe the motion carried. Is that correct? Is there any opposed? Thank you. Waiver to attend another academy.
The Henry Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Whitney Marie Sotheby. Hired February 14th of 2023. In July of 2023, Ms. Sotheby was scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to begin training due to a medical issue. The Henry Police Department is requesting the waiver so that she may attend the Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy in September of 2023.
Is there anyone here from Henry County or Henry Police Department? Sorry. Are they online? See Oak Ridge and,
Chief Tharp from the Henry Police Department.
all right. All right, so what else do we need to know about this situation with Ms. Sotheby?
It's pretty straightforward, ma'am. She went to orientation on June the 16th in Toledo. She was supposed to start July academy date. Between that time, she had an issue where she could not. So she's requesting a change of academy because she already has something planned for mid-December. And if she waits to start Toledo at their next class, she will not be able to fulfill that obligation. So we're requesting a change of academy based on that.
Any questions or comments from commissioners? Is there a motion?
Commissioner Beverly, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Good luck to you, Henry Police Department. Oak Ridge Police Department,
Oak Ridge Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Karina Igor Buta. Hired June 5th, 2023. In September of 2022, Ms. Buta attended the Knoxville Police Department Training Academy, but was unable to complete training due to academic failure. Oak Ridge Police Department is requesting the waiver so that she may attend the Walter State Law Enforcement Training Academy.
okay, someone online from the Oak Ridge Police Department? If so, please identify yourself.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Greg Coker. I'm the Department GDI.
Is there anything else you'd like the commission to know about this?
Yes, ma'am, if I may. The academic failure for Officer Buda was 3 seconds on the 300-meter run, and we knew that when we went into this. I would also like to explain some mistakes on my part in the filing, because if the commission will look at the paperwork, there's a disparity in her hire date. our application for her academy and the whole way this happened. I had not had the ACADIS training and was unaware of some things I needed to do on the initial filing. I was made aware of that via email from Ms. Kasia Phillips. However, I did not read the entire email and see that the waiver was needed. So I did not originally file that. We were also notified by Walter State that a waiver was needed. And again, mistakes on our part at Oak Ridge, primarily me, it's my responsibility. Not understanding the rules. I did not file that because we felt like that was an academy filing. As I attended the ACADIS training in July in Jackson, I learned from the folks that work for the commission and handle the day-to-day operations that should have been filed. There was something else that I had to correct, and I reached out to Ms. Phillips. I went back in my email and found where I had failed to pay attention to the entire email and file correctly. So we are quite a bit late filing for this waiver. I wanted you to know all that so that you would know that it was a mistake on my part, and that is all. It was an attempt to get her into an academy without filing a waiver. I apologize to the commission, and Ms. Buddha is here for further questions if you have them for she, or if you have questions for me.
Mr. Bella, has all of this been squared away?
Yes.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to us, Ms. Buddha?
I just appreciate the opportunity to basically try again. Going into the KPD Academy, I probably should have prepped more physically, and I took the time, like learning from my mistakes at KPD. I took the time to train more, to do more in physical fitness before coming here at Oak Ridge.
Okay. You gonna make your run this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? Or
Motion to approve.
all right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Commissioner Wright, second.
Commissioner Wright, second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck to you. Put your running shoes on.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, waiver for basic training, specialized substitutions, grant service.
Post-reviewed and administratively approved 30 post-transition school waivers and all corresponding supporting documents. The reported documents meet or exceed the minimum standards set forth by the Peace Officer Standard Training requirements. And we have the listed officers that were approved for their waivers of transition school listed here.
Anything from commissioners? Is there a motion?
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second, Isabel.
All right, motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, administrative waivers, waiver for open service.
We have no waivers of in-service.
Waiver of the 6-month rule.
All right, we have the Brownsville Police Department request a 6-month waiver for Samantha Lee Wade, hired April 13th of 2023. Ms. Wade attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in July of 23, but was unable to complete training due to personal reasons. Ms. Wade is scheduled to re-attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in October of 2023.
Did Brownsville, are they here?
Brownsville was here.
They left. Is there a motion on this?
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Wagner.
All right, motion to approve and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, motion carries.
The Cobb County Sheriff's Office requests a 6-month waiver for Brian David McCrindle, hired February 27th of 23. Mr. McCrindle was scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in July of 23, but is unable to begin training due to previously scheduled engagement. Mr. McCrindle is scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in October of 2023.
Anyone here from Cobb County? What's the pleasure of the commission? Is there a
Commissioner
motion?
Spangler, motion to approve.
All right, is there a second?
Commissioner Green, I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion to approve carries. Lookout Mountain Police Department.
Lookout Mountain Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Stephen Arthur Miller, Jr., hired August 1st, 2023. Mr. Miller is unable to begin training due to agency staff concerns. Mr. Miller is scheduled to attend the Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy in early 2024.
Anyone online or present from the Lookout Mountain Police Department? Not seeing anyone.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Jackson, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Russell.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Waivers for 8.4.
We have no waivers of the 8.3,
Medical
no waivers of medical,
and military leave.
no waivers for military.
Moving on to page 8, applications for training officers.
Post investigators have reviewed and approved 2 applications for training officer that meet the criteria for approval. The officers listed below will be informed that they have 1 year to complete the instructor development course or approved substitute. And there we have listed Philip Barton from Henry PD and Mallory Campbell from La Follette PD.
Is there a motion on this?
Commissioner Spangler, motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Wright, second.
We have a second. A motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Applications for certified instructor.
Post investigators have reviewed and approved 19 applications for certified instructor. The applicants meet minimal standards and have completed the minimum hours and attendance for required courses. The instructors listed below will be notified if they have 1 year to complete instructor development or approved substitute. None. Of the officers listed below, request a waiver of the 1 year training officer requirement. We have Charles Prince of Columbia State Community College PD, Matthew Forsythe of La Follette PD, Carla Allen of Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Dennis Ford of Tri-Cities Airport PD, Jonathan Wilson of Waverly.
Is there a motion?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Green, second.
All in favor of the motion to approve, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, curriculum and test, top of page 9.
Post investigators have reviewed and approved 95 in-service and specialized training classes this month as they are in order and meet or exceed minimum standards set forth by peace officers' standard training requirements. They have made note that these training officers meet the post requirements for firearms, EVOC, mental illness, and child sex abuse.
Is there a motion on this?
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Commissioner Green, I would like to say something. The volume of specialized training that Post does certified, we've got 2 conferences coming up in the next couple of weeks. I know the work that's done in that. They just need to be applauded for the work, the volume they have to deal with every month. I just want to go on record with that.
Well taken. Thank you. All right, we're ready for old business. Grundy County Sheriff's Office.
Grundy County Sheriff's, a follow-up discussion with Sheriff Hunter, who requested to address the post commission and post investigators regarding findings of investigation.
Is the sheriff present? Hello, Sheriff.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners.
What would you like to advise the commissioners?
Well, first of all, I want to know that I stand up here humble in front of you and want to apologize for having to have this matter come up. The Grundy County Sheriff's Office has certainly not tried to deliberately stub its nose at Post or the commissioners or Director Bello. The gentleman, which was the Chief Brandon King that was doing our CADIS, was not a CADIS certified. He was working on it on a regular basis. I took faith and trust in my chain of command. Since then, Captain Clarence Delk has been to the CADIS training and is doing all the CADIS now. All of our deputies but one is in a CADIS. I believe Kathy has told him all the ones that he's entered looks good. So it's for that one. And he messed up on the date for his psych. He will have his psych done on 14/30 Monday. And has since been put on administrative duty inside the office until he can get that done. Chief Brandon King that you addressed in the last post commission through the internal investigation, which I had no hands on, I refused myself from it, was conducted by Clarence Nelk and Tracy Brown and DA's office, their investigator, and an investigator from the TBI piggybacked on that investigation. Chief Deputy King was found I have not committed any legal violations. The lady in question, which was his cousin, was actually booked in within 30 minutes. The DA investigator, the TBI investigator, along with Captain Dow and Ms. Brown, when they did his interview, they all said that they had no legal findings against Chief King. Deputy Norris, which was brought up in front of this council, saying having a criminal history or a pattern, was suspended on 2 weeks and has since resigned, pending the investigation and allegations of falsifying any misconduct on initiating a pursuit. The SRO situation. I did not intentionally try to break the law by putting uncertified deputies in the parking lots. And I did allow them, tell them they could go into school, be seen, use the bathroom, eat their lunch, and come back out. All of last year, the only 3 SROs I had was working the road. Not only that, but my deputies and my SROs were not allowed in the schools by the director because of no MOU and because of a bad reputation and relationship with the last administration. The citizens of Grundy County demanded some type of law presence at the school after the shooting. These deputies were not at the school the whole year. It took place directly, shortly after the school shooting in Nashville. They were there merely for a deterrence. And I apologize to this council here for making that mistake. But I did what I had to do for the citizens of Grundy County. They deserved and needed to have something or some type of representation in the school. I'm happy to say right before the close of the school year, the director and I, without all the outside people mixing in their 2 cents, have cleared the air, and we have a better working relationship than ever. All my schools have certified officers in the schools. 3 of the SROs are certified SROs. And 2, we are trying to get into the SRO school now. I worked very hard. I actually sacrificed some of my road coverage to make this happen in our school. Short of that, the Grundy County Sheriff's Office has been drinking from the, if you excuse the term, the fire hose since I took office. The Director Bello would tell you, or can confirm, that post was called down to come investigate me on day 8. And it's been nonstop since then. I'm trying to do what's best for the citizens of Grundy County. I do take my job personally. And I did tell the investigator that I did feel like it was personal. Because I take every citizen's vote that place confidence in me personal. I'm a former United States Marine, a former United States Army soldier. Character and dignity, honest, and character means something to me. And that's what I want my department to stand for. Now, if I need to do something different, I will do that. I try with everything I have not to make the same mistakes twice. This is my first time being a sheriff. When I took over as sheriff, 23 people walked out. I built the force back up with the nature of our job. Deputies come and deputies go. And right now I'm running with about 6 people and 5 SROs and 3 in the chain of command. All the deputies at my department right now are certified but 1. And he's riding in a vehicle with somebody else. He is scheduled to go to Cleveland in September to get his certification. Mr. Trevor, Mr. Dodge, John Trevor, that was at the school. I've got nothing but great reports on him from the school district and from the principal. They would like to have him back in the school. Currently, Mr. Dodge is not working patrol. He's actually working on the correction side. Our cook, the lady that runs the kitchen, had to have knee surgery, and Mr. Dodge stepped up. He's been on the correction side for several months now, doing an outstanding job. The assistant general administrator is getting ready to have shoulder surgery. And Mr. Dykes will be filling in for the assistant general administrator as well. And I hope for my department, excuse me, it's not a department, it's an office. For the office of the sheriff's, the deputies that work there and the citizens of Grundy County, that after the assistant general administrator comes back, that I'll be able to put Mr. Dykes into the academy. If there's not anything that I've not touched base on, I will try to answer any questions that you have. I stand here before you, and I know it said that I've stubbed my nose at this board, and I haven't. Please don't take it that way. Sometimes I'm not user friendly, and I'm working on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there questions from the commissioners?
Commissioner Isabel, in regards to the SROs or deputies that you had at the schools, were any of those individuals uncertified deputies?
Yes, sir, they were. That's the only ones I had to put there at the time.
Commissioner Green, Sheriff, I appreciate you coming in. Just to be clear, you've got one officer that needs to go to the academy, and you're waiting to get him into Cleveland State. And did you have some people that were supposed to attend transition school, and has that occurred?
I did have 2 deputies that was to attend the transition school. Ron Bass was one of them. Ron Bass is now the assistant general administrator. This last time that he was supposed to go to the academy, he tore his shoulder. When Post was down helping us with our CADIS, we actually sent medical paperwork back with them. And since then, we found out that Mr. Bass has to have shoulder surgery.
Was there another one?
There was, sir, that was supposed to go with him. If you give me a minute, I think of his name. Bradford. Mr. Lonnie Bradford was supposed to go. Mr. Bradford decided not to go, and he shortly resigned thereafter.
So your jail administrator is no longer acting like a sworn deputy. He's just in a civilian administrative capacity.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
I have a few things. Sheriff, do appreciate you coming forward today. Gotta say from our side, though, it does seem like you're kind of stubbing the nose at the Post Commission. We've given you the resources through Post, working with investigators and things to get everything in order. And it sounds like you're getting there, that you're having to move a lot of personnel around. I think the non-certified officer in the school was probably one of the biggest things that struck this commission, especially with what's going on right now in the state of Tennessee and all the attention we've got on that with our latest school shooting. And what really bothered some of us, not only being a non-certified officer, is the fact that our investigator walked in and was there. I could ask, I think 10 so minutes or so before anybody even asked them who they were or what they were doing there. Unlocked doors, things of that nature. You said you did not have a memorandum of understanding with the school at the time that you was putting them in the parking lots.
That is correct, sir.
Do you have a memorandum of understanding with the schools now?
Yes, sir, we do.
Have you been working with your officers and the school to do safety, making sure that the doors are locked during school hours, training at the schools in case of an active shooter?
Yes, sir, we have. We actually did all our school safety assessments during the summer, working in cooperation with the school and with the safe school coordinator. Since the school has started, the deputies, the SROs, they make regular tours to check the doors. And I go and do spot checks on each school at least once a week.
Well, let's say I appreciate you coming forward and being honest with us about everything and kind of seeing the line of where you're getting everybody directed to resolve the situation. But please utilize the resources that Post reaches out and offers you to get any of your CADIS, anything you got to have, any questions y'all have in order.
Yes, sir. Now that I have a Captain Delta is a CADIS certified, the chief, as hard as he tried, he didn't understand the CADIS, and I trusted in the people that I put in the positions that they were in. I don't believe that the chief king at any time tried to mislead me, because I know he showed me several times where he tried putting people in. Before Mr. Captain Dale took over that position, Post had come down and worked with us, and we had since then have got a lot of people put in, even before last month's meeting. And then on the schools, the school tells a different story than what the Post investigators tell. I was not able to see film. I'm not saying that the story, the facts that they gave were wrong. But I've got directors, administrators that are saying that they had people checking folks in that day at the school. The school was all but over for the year. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that I cannot answer to the fact about the school being open. They tell me a a different version of it. And so that's where I'm at on that. I mean, they're willing to make signed sworn statements in front of the judge on the fact that, so, but we won't have that problem no more because I do have trained deputies that are in the school. We know the standards for the school. School safety is important to me. I spent most of my career as an SRO. I actually helped stop a shooting in the fundamentals of it being organized and talked out at a school that I worked at. By the fact that building those bonds with the students and building that trust that they have within the SRO. The SRO plays a bigger part than just being a law enforcement officer at the school for safety. That SRO was there to build bonds, lifelong trust in the system of our police officers, our deputies, that's been lost in the community, it seems like. Nobody wants to be the police anymore. We've all seen how hard it is to get that. And that's what an SRO does. He or she rebuilds those bridges, that trust, to the point to where they trust you enough to come tell you when they hear two students talking about using a game site to organize a shooting at a school.
I don't have really anything further. It's whether it did happen or didn't happen on them being there for that long or whatever, as long as we move forward from this point to make sure it does not happen again. These mentally unstable people are looking for soft targets, and you don't want those schools to be your soft targets. And just making sure that, because even if that was to happen, I would look at it then, okay, well, what responsibility did I have? Because I didn't take enough action against Grundy County for allowing it to go on in the first place. So I appreciate what you've done, appreciate where you're going, and just hope we're not here again.
Yes, sir. And we have called a few more of our mistakes, not with the SROs, but we're changing policies, we're changing procedures. We're putting double eyes on paperwork now to where it was before just a single person looking at it. The meeting last month, after I was informed about it, listened to the commissioners talk. It was an eye opener. I've drank from the fire hose for so long that I think, things were getting better. It opened my eyes to where we were making some mistakes. It showed me where I need room for improvement. My office needs room for improvement. I stand here before this committee, especially on the SROs, and tell you that those mistakes won't happen again. And with it being recorded and being put on the air right now, I make that statement in front of you as the sheriff of Grundy County.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bello, are there any follow-up concerns or issues for the investigators that we need to be aware of?
We do have our investigator here that can provide any kind of follow-up since last month. We also have Director Wall here from TCI that can speak to what's been going on the jail side of things, if the commission wishes to hear from him.
Sure. Is there any information you feel like the commissioners need to be notified about? People are not hearing anything. All right. I'm sorry.
Make sure it's clear who you're talking about to.
The investigator from the Post Commission?
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Madam Chair, before we dive in, I have one more question for the sheriff.
Don't go away, sure.
Oh, no, ma'am, I was gonna step to the side, ma'am.
Sheriff, in regard to the issue of the individual being booked into the jail and a potential delay there, you said that there were no findings of legal violations. What about department violations or your general orders?
The investigator and the captain are still looking at that, and we're looking at to reviewing that more this week, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I think I share in the commission stating, I for one feel like our back is against the wall. And I pray that we get to see some improvement from Grundy County, because I feel like if this continues, our hand will be forced. So we offer you help. I know that they will be there. I really want to see you improve.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that. I will let the commissioners know directly after I seen the video that Friday evening, I contacted our county attorney regarding the deputies that were brought up in question, Chief King and Sergeant Norris. After the county attorney got back with me with legal advice, they were immediately suspended until the internal investigation was completed. Like I said, I recused myself from it with him being the chief. And like, I want to improve. I'm not trying to hide nothing. Like I said, we did find some more mistakes, and we're working on that with that one individual. And that issue will be fixed as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, our post investigator.
Good morning. Bruce Cantrell, post investigator. As you recall, at the end of last meeting, Chairman Parton had requested I do a full agency audit. And I was able to get that done. And the biggest thing as far as the agency audit goes is there still continues to be discrepancies in documentation. People being listed in a CADIS. I was made aware earlier this week of a young deputy who's been there since early July, and we still haven't gotten any pre-employment paperwork on him. There are some who, some of the deputies that are there now who have had issues in the past with employers who were terminated for different reasons. The district attorney for the 12th district put out a Giglio list just a few weeks ago with 6 of their deputies on it for different reasons. And it was also brought to my attention, and I just need to clear it up on the record since it was put out on the record from the last meeting that Deputy Dykes, the information I had at the time was that he was involved in the pursuit that went down to Georgia, but it was actually another person that he was actually related to. I didn't know at the time that there was 4 people with the same last name working there, but he was not actually involved in, because he's not certified. Would you like me to go down each individual officer, what I found?
Sure.
Okay. Detective Brown, she was actually just hired back in May. She's actually in our transition school right now. There was no discrepancies found with her. Deputy Wade Coble, it shows in a case that he resigned in lieu of termination from Springfield Police Department on May 5th, 2015. One of his FTOs had actually wrote a letter to her lieutenant about concerns that she had about him not being able to pass FTO. And she listed specific situations like untruthfulness about searching an inmate. He subsequently resigned after this letter went to the lieutenant. He According to the chief at Tracy City Police Department, he said that he had terminated Mr. Copeland due to lying to the chief and his sergeant. Deputy Joseph Collins, he's not certified yet. This is actually his first full-time law enforcement job. According to ACADIS, he doesn't have anything else listed. Initially, after the July commission meeting, I received several phone calls alleging that he was working solo patrol. I've spoken with a few people this week who said that he's actually now riding with somebody whenever he does work. But there was an administrator from another agency in that area who said they have actually heard Mr. Collins on the radio on multiple occasions by himself. Captain Dell didn't complete in-service last year. He only had 2 classes totaling 25 hours. It was drug conspiracy investigations and bloodborne and airborne pathogens, PPE use. That's all that's documented in CADIS for him. He's got a listing in ACADIS that on March 5th of 2010, he was terminated from the Ripley Police Department. They didn't list the reason why. There was when I contacted Ripley Police Department, they sent me an investigative report done by one of their lieutenants who, in short, it alleges that Mr. Delk had called somebody when he was working for Ripley and asked her to go get some liquor for him for when he got off of work. And allegedly he showed up in uniform after work and was drinking with her and somebody else. He wrote out a statement in lieu of that, saying that he was denying all the claims. Said that he had never been there while he was working for Ripley. He was there prior. We've got Mr. John Trevor Dykes, who is not certified, and actually spoke with somebody this week who confirmed what the sheriff already told us. He is working on the correction side. I don't know if he's going to be full-time corrections or not. And if you recall from the last meeting, when investigators showed up to the school he was at, he admitted that he was working by himself and he was not certified, and that it was a concern for him. Then there's Deputy Zachary Foltz. He's listed on an updated roster that I got just this week as being part-time, but he's actually showing full-time in ACADIS. He did not complete his in-service for last year. He only had a total of 14 hours of in-service that was documented in ACADIS. Sheriff Gunner is up to date on his training. He went to transition school and new sheriff school last year. Chief King, according to the documentation in ACADIS, there was no criminal history ran on him prior to him being hired by the Grundy County Sheriff's Office. He completed new sheriff school in September of last year. I've spoke with a couple of his previous department heads. Chief Seagraves from Powell's Crossroads said that he had to terminate then Officer King because of a video where he was seen in the police department with another individual using racial slurs. Then I spoke with the chief and city manager for Whipple. And there was according to the chief, there was a video on Facebook Live back when Chief King worked there where he had some juveniles in the police department after hours, and it was alleged that Mr. King had drive stunned one of the juveniles. And based off that and some other circumstances, they had to let Mr. King go. I've also received some phone calls during this where it was alleged that Chief King has refused to serve warrants for another agency in that county. And more specifically, a specific officer that works for that agency. He had a warrant for a suspect for theft over 10,000, and he was told that Grundy County would not assist him in serving the warrant. And then, if you recall from the last meeting, and the sheriff mentioned it a minute ago, it was alleged that Chief King had stopped the booking process on a family member. The sheriff said it was 30 minutes and she was booked in. From what I've been told from several individuals, it was at least 6 hours before she was able to be booked in. We've got Deputy Rebecca Myers. She completed all of her in-service last year, and she already has 31 hours of training documented so far this year. She came to Grundy County from Warren County Sheriff's Office, where she resigned in good standing. Deputy William Cody Neely. His pre-employment background was not started until 10 days after his documented start date indicated with Grundy County. I had to call previous employers for him due to some of the way that his separation was listed. One of them was Etowah Police Department. They said that he had several write-ups due to violation of policies, and one of them was for violation of take-home car policy because he just wasn't keeping it clean, basic job requirements, and body-worn camera policies. He was written up a second time along with the written reprimand. He was suspended for 3 days and lost his privilege to have a take-home car. Neely was also terminated from Nyota Police Department due to failing to use the time clock and clocking in and leaving the city of Nyota, and improper use of a city cell phone. He was employed by Bradley County for a short period. It was February 26th of 2018 through March 23rd of 2018. I spoke with the GDI there, and she stated that he resigned over the phone with no notice due to the issues he told her were he wasn't issued a raincoat and a take-home car when he started. Sergeant Sean Philip Norris. I just found out this week he has since resigned since the last commission meeting after he was put on suspension. He's actually still showing as being a part of Grundy County Sheriff's Office in Acatus. He's still under a suspended status. He graduated transition school on February 7th of this year. As I mentioned in the last meeting, he has had several instances where he's been charged criminally, and the charges were all dropped. He was put on probation for 36 months in Georgia by the Georgia Post Council. And during that time is when he had his second case brought against him. He was indicted by GBI along with another deputy for aggravated assault, criminal attempted rape, and false imprisonment. And then once it went to court, the DA filed a motion to dismiss due to the general unavailability of the victim because of her transience and other factors. There is Deputy Jared Nunley. He was reported to have started working with Grundy County as an SRO, but he's still not listed in the CADIS as working there. I couldn't find him in there. Deputy Kenneth Jacob Nunley was hired by Grundy County Sheriff's Office on March 10th of this year. His background investigation was not conducted until June 29th of this year. And we still have not gotten a pre-employment packet as of July 13th of this year. Deputy Brandon Keith Patterson was hired right around the time of the last commission meeting. From what I was told, he started right around that time, and then we still have not gotten any paperwork on him. He has since been allowed to resign due to matters that were brought up in the last commission meeting. He was arrested last year when he worked for Pikeville Police Department for domestic violence. He was one of the 6 that were put on the Brady list due to that. When I spoke with Mr. Patterson, he told me that he had concerns because he was called into the office and was asked to resign or be terminated. And when he asked why, he alleges that he was told Post was investigating him specifically and that we put him on the Brady list. So I had to explain to him, it's not one specific person that's under investigation, it's the agency as a whole, because I was requested to do a full agency audit and explain to him the steps involved in that process. And then I told him, as far as the Brady list goes, we have nothing to do with that. That is completely the district attorney. She's the one who has the obligation to disclose any integrity issues that might compromise the case. So when somebody gets put on that list, it's completely her decision to do if she feels like that testimony is gonna jeopardize a case. We have Deputy Kobe Dale Sism. He was short 1 hour for in-service last year. Deputy Sism was, according to CADIS, was arrested in 2021 by Monteagle Police Department and charged with aggravated criminal trespass and possession of a prohibited weapon. There was a motion to dismiss that was filed on February 15th of this year. And the judge stated that the case would be dismissed without prejudice because the officer that charged him was no longer an employee of the department. Then there's Lieutenant Seagroves, Lieutenant Kayla Rebecca Seagroves. She started with the sheriff's office on September 1st of last year, according to CADIS. Due to being out for approximately 8 years, she had to go through our transition school, and she has since done that and passed and graduated. Then there's Deputy Kevin Wayne Smith. According to CADIS, he was hired by Grundy County on October 21st of last year. His medical eval is dated 5/24/23. and his psyche eval is dated 11/4/22. So those weren't done until after he started. Deputy Smith reportedly responded to a report of an attempted kidnapping at a fellow deputy's house from a different agency. She stated that he showed up approximately 10 minutes after the call. And once he was on scene, he told her that he had already found the vehicle and checked both people in the vehicle and said that they were construction workers and that they were okay. She said that she checked with dispatch and tried to find the report, and there was no report filed, and there was no record of him getting out with anybody while he was responding to that call. Chief Watkins from Coffee County said that he had transferred Deputy Smith to from patrol to corrections due to integrity issues from a specific call. And then shortly after that is when Smith had submitted his resignation from Coffee County. And then the last one is Deputy Leslie Joe Turner. He completed all of his in-service for last year, and there was no discrepancies with his ACADIS file. There's also one I just remember, I'm sorry, that I was just made aware of this week, who has been working there since July. I think I mentioned earlier. Yeah, we still haven't gotten pre-employment paperwork from him. We have actually been working with multiple different agencies on this investigation. Well, I've spoken with the director from TCI. I've spoken off and on with General Lynch from the 12th District. And I've spoken with TBI agents from that area. And so this isn't just post that's concerned about things going on. There's multiple agencies that are involved in this. And if y'all would like to hear from TCI, he's here to answer any questions. If you have any questions for me, I'll answer.
Commissioners have any questions?
Commissioner Isabel, just one question in regards to your investigation. So during your audit, were you able to determine and find out if they're in fact doing proper background investigations that's required for employment?
Yes and no. They are doing background investigations mostly, but somehow there's things slipping by that are questionable in backgrounds.
Thank you.
Commissioner Russell, yes, I think I'm aware of. Commissioner Russell, have you ever seen an agency this far out of compliance?
In my 13 years of law enforcement, no.
Thank you.
Other questions from commissioners?
Commissioner Green, have you made this information available to the sheriff?
I have not spoken to the sheriff since prior to the last commission meeting.
Would you be able to give the sheriff the information you just provided for us?
Yes, sir.
I know he was trying to write a lot of this down. It'd be
Yes.
easier for him if he had all this
I can
information. Thank you.
Anyone else? And I believe you said the investigator from TCI is here.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you approach, please, and identify yourself?
My name is Wade Long, I'm the Executive Director of Tennessee Corrections Institute. And thank you for having me today just to report the results from our jail inspections and any of the concerns that we have and what our status is currently. The initial inspection occurred on May 30th of this year, and there were numerous deficiencies. However, on our reinspection on July 28th of this year, One deficiency remained, which caused a concern, and we provided numerous hours of technical assistance to them, along with the courts and the clerk's office to try to resolve this problem. And I just wanted to provide you with what that deficiency was. And it's in the comment section, it says that inmate files do not contain up-to-date court information to reflect current confinement and bond status. Inmate files do not contain personal information in full in criminal history verification. Those are some things that are very concerning to us related to classification or related to the inmate status, whether they're there under proper orders, commitment orders, things like that are what we look for when we review their records. However, we've been working with them, and we have a scheduled visit prior to our board meeting, which is on September 6th. And hopefully, some of the technical assistance we provided, they will be able to have resolved many of those issues, discussing that with the courts and the clerk's office, as well as the district attorney, just to help the jail understand how that process is supposed to go. But currently, I will say that they are recommended for non-certification of their facility due to that item. But we are continuing to work with them to try to resolve that, hopefully prior to the September 6th board meeting. However, and once we complete our final technical assistance and our board meeting, we'll be more than happy to provide this commission with the status of that. And with that, I'm open up for any questions that you may have.
Commissioners? You did say that at this time you're recommending for non-certification.
That's the recommendation of the team that went there, is for non-certification due to these records. And
For the jail.
yes, ma'am. And there, with a reinspection occurring, that's the current recommendation. It's not often that a recommendation is changed. However, due to the severity of those records being incomplete, we are doing everything we can to hopefully resolve prior to the board meeting, because their facility's been certified since 2014. This is the first time they're facing non-certification since, or 15, excuse me.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
Commissioner Spanglin, just real quick, Mr. Director, thank you for being here. Did this come from a complaint, or did this come from just a regular inspection?
This is our normal inspection process, and we went in to notice this, and we were asked if there was any irregularities, and we provided the inspection report and the re-inspection report to the investigator related to this, and there was the same deficiency from the initial to the second.
Thank you.
Anything else for the director? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, what's the pleasure of the commission at this time?
Commissioner Wright,
It's a lot to absorb.
Commissioner Ryan, I think we might want to hear the sheriff's comments to some of that and reporting, not necessarily detailed through all of it by no means, but on some of the more severe parts anyway.
Did you hear Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am, but if I understand you, sir, you'd like to hear some comments from not all of it, but for some of it. I'll start with the last first. We had the same jail administrator that was there for the last 8 years, all the way up until July 2nd. Nothing has changed in the way that we did business when I took over. On this last item that Director Walsh talked about, we actually had a phone meeting with the investigator or the inspector, with the judge there and the ADA. They've been doing the records like that for the last 8 years. They wanted change, so the judge said he would change it. The judge was doing everything via electronics. They want more paper trails, we're going to put more paper trails. And so I am confident that when they come in September, that last item will be resolved. The judge said he would help us with that. With the deputies, there's on the Brady list, the 6 officers that are on there, they all have retained counsel. I've spoken with their counsel, and the council seems to think that they can resolve that. Some of these officers and these deputies have been deputies for 13, 15 years. This was never brought up. And so we're working on that to get that cleared up on the Giglio and the Brady list. Like I said, we've not had an ACADIS trained person until now. Captain Dell was out for, couldn't get access to the ACADIS system for a week after he came back. And then shortly after that had knee replacement. So he's been trying to work from home, remotely, and at the office, trying to fix the ACADIS. These folks that are in there, once I get the audit report, that'll make it a little bit easier. I've not received a copy of the first audit. So, like I said today, I would try to answer the questions that I could, the best that I could. I feel like with this audit report that it will make things a whole lot simpler.
Sheriff, this is Commissioner Green. Does it not bother you that some of the employees that you have either integrity issues or have a very poor work record of being terminated by other agencies?
Yes, sir. It bothers me, but a lot of these were allegations. I also know that some of the confidentials, the CS1, CS2, if I'm told by their agency that's which ones they are, if you was to look in their background, you'd see that both of them have been fired too or resigned in lieu of termination. But does it bother me? Yes. Do I believe that everybody deserves a second chance? I do all I can to give a man or a woman a fair chance in the department, the sheriff's office, whether it's working in the office, working as a correction officer, or working on the road. If I see habits or integrity issues, then I don't care if it's the chief down to the last deputy I hired. I will fire them or let them go. I will work the road. When I took over, I worked the road because we had nobody. Except for 3 deputies that stayed. It is hard to find deputies right now. And I'm trying everything I can to get ones without some type of baggage attached to them. Now with Mr. Norris, he mentioned about they let it go because the lady was vagrant and all that. And I had heard that from the DA. But also in from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation was a polygraph test on all those charges that he passed with the 98.3. And so they used the same one that's stated in there that the Air Force uses. So I took that with the knowledge, knowing on a chance. Also, Post is the one that, we turned our paperwork into Post and they granted his 3-week transition course. And so I figured if Post was gonna take a chance on giving him his post commission, that I would give the man a shot too.
Again, Commissioner Green, I know you talked about the professionalism of your agency and the reputation you want to have. It has to be embarrassing to have that information read out in a public forum on each of your officers, the issues they have as employees, but also the fact that you're here addressing issues where even your agency isn't in compliance. So do you have a plan as you move forward to correct some of these things?
Yes, sir. Like I said, we have already started changing our policies and our procedures and the way that we vet people. From now on, like I said, stated before, it's going to be 2 sets of eyes that verify everything I'm looking at. I'll soon have a GDI. And I'm also getting another ACADIS, another deputy that's ACADIS certified. And yes, sir, I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for myself, for my deputies, for my county. But some of these are alleged. And some of the things that was read out here today was not what the DA told me on the Giglio list or the Brady on these officers. 2 conflicting stories. All I can do is to work harder, work smarter, and be user friendly more, and provide a better sheriff's office for our county.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I guess I'll start with Director Bello. With the post-transition, it's my, I guess if I'm understanding this correctly, as long as certain benchmarks are met for out of state, they're able to attend our transition school, correct?
That's correct.
So it has nothing to do with any background. It is, were they certified and are they coming to Tennessee, correct?
It is, I mean, the waiver to attend transition school to substitute an out-of-state basic for basic here in Tennessee is part of the pre-employment packet. So if the pre-employment packet for Officer Deputy Norris had been denied, he would have never made it into transition school. So to the sheriff's point, when we look and process those, we have to deal with very black and white issues of guilty, not guilty. I mean, if charges have been dismissed, dropped, expunged, we can't consider those when we're processing a packet. So like you said, we can't look at allegations, and we rely on the agencies to do that background check and submit that we vetted this person and we deem them to have a good moral character. And we're just looking at their criminal history, and that they have psychological, medical, birth certificate, things of that nature, that they're checking those boxes for pre-employment as part of that transition school process.
And Sheriff, did Sergeant Norris hire in as a sergeant or was it as a deputy?
He hired in as deputy, sir.
And I guess the point I'm wanting to make on that, and I want to be clear, as Director Bello just said, we deal with the black and white, guilty, not guilty. Sheriff, you're the one who handed that man a badge and you're the one who promoted him, correct?
That is correct, sir.
That does not fall on us.
No, sir. No, I didn't mean for it to sound like that. That wasn't my intent. And if that's the way you took it, sir, I apologize to you for that.
I appreciate you saying that. You're the elected sheriff of Grundy County. We want to see you be successful. We really do. We're gonna, like I said before, we're gonna offer you tools. However, we have a job to do as well.
Yes, sir. No, I do understand that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wagner, I have a question for Mr. Bello. You said he came from Georgia
That's correct.
and his certification in Georgia was not revoked or anything like that.
That's
Still
correct.
active. Still active. So he'd go back to Georgia. As I know from my history, he could go back to Georgia and be a police officer.
That's correct.
So, it wouldn't trigger anything for the sheriff. I mean, if he's transferring in, And he's not decertified. He was, think I heard it said he was suspended for 36 months.
Correct, and we didn't find that out until we did some digging with.
My
all this,
knowledge of being Georgia for 14 years, I often had officers who would be suspended for amount of time and then reactivate. And there's, didn't affect their certification. In this case, it's like Commissioner Beverly said, it's on the sheriff to make a decision.
Yeah.
But he's faced with a problem of, he's got to have people, this guy's certified.
And for clarification, I think Georgia Post put him on a probationary period. I don't think they even suspended the certification.
That's right. They put him on
So they
probation.
put him on a probationary period where they were just gonna monitor him, so.
Well, what happens is they wait till the criminal cases comes up. But, as a police officer, just because you accuse of something doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty of it. So they wait till, just like we do, they wait till the case runs out and then they take him off probationary list. He's never been decertified. In Georgia, they wouldn't know that he's on a probationary list. If he went somewhere else to try to be hired, they would know it and they'd have to make a decision like, sure, just for background knowledge for y'all. It still doesn't relieve you, Sheriff, of thinking through the process, I guess.
Yes, sir. And I put a lot of faith in that polygraph test with the fact that the charges that he was accused of and charged with, that he was, according to that polygraph test, he answered truthfully.
Well, that's certainly been an indicator, but it's not absolute.
Yes, sir.
Other commissioners?
Commissioner Wright, just one or two of the things. Sheriff, you realize it's gonna be up to you to build the integrity back with that department. And I think that's the biggest hurdle you have right now is building the integrity back. And that's gonna be on you. We're here to help. There's, as you know, there are a lot of eyes and ears on Grundy County right now. And Post is not out to get you. We're here to help. And I know you may have some neighbors that you politically think may be otherwise to you. But that aside, because most of those are allegations, but it does come down to you being the sole one to build the integrity back. So I think that's the biggest thing is moving forward to get to where you need to be is, and we know that the pool of officers is not there. Just work at it, try to think outside of the box and move forward with it.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate that, that knowledge and the recommendations, sir, on what I need to do to move forward from this council. I don't have all the answers. And I'll be the first one to say that I don't have all the answers. But I'm learning each day. And I learned a lot this morning. I learned a lot from the last meeting. And once I'm provided with a list of what this audit was, I believe I'll be able to move further even faster than what we have been. I know after him going through his list, it don't seem like we've made gained a lot of ground. But all except for one or two of these, I'm just finding out today. And that's where those second set of eyes and our deeper background checks are going to come into play.
Yes.
Commissioner Russell, Sheriff, thank you for being here. So if I understand you right, you said you knew about all of these except for one or two?
I know about the one or two, well, maybe I stated that wrong. I know about one or two of them. The rest of these are new to me.
Okay, that's totally opposite.
If I'm stating it correctly.
So from what
I'm sorry, sir.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
So from what you've heard today, what kind of time frame are you looking at to fix these issues?
I'm hoping to have these issues fixed within 14, 30 days or less.
And my next question is the post, when will he get a list of these findings?
Well, the day when we went to visit him in July, our investigative team left a list of things that needed to be fixed when we were there. The matters that have popped up between July and now are new, but some of these things are not new. And he was made aware, and his staff have been made aware, and we have tried to help them get these things fixed. Case in point, the gentleman that Bruce was referring to, Brandon Patterson, that was hired, we never got pre-employment paperwork for, and has since left and resigned. I spoke to Mr. Delk just the other day, and he still hasn't sent us the paperwork stating that he ever worked there or resigned. I know he's had some surgery, but he indicated to me that, hey, within a couple of days, I'll be back in the office, I'm gonna have my computer, and I'll send it to you. And I still don't have anything from him. So those are the kinds of things we're dealing with on a repeat basis.
Thank you. And Sheriff, do you remember this list?
I remember a list of being told of certain officers that wasn't in the CADIS, and Chief King was working on those. Like I said, Chief King wasn't a CADIS certified. And since then, we had Lieutenant Seagrove slated to go to the CADIS training, but she decided to have her baby during that time. So that's the reason why Captain Delk is in that position now. Has since then been to the CADIS training. Captain Delk came back and has started working almost full-time hours as of yesterday.
And you said you think that you could resolve all of it in 14 to 30 days?
With that binding list, yes, sir.
Would you have a problem coming back next month with the list that they originally gave you, and we go through and see how many of those you've got fixed?
I would like to come back, sir, yes.
I'll make the motion that we ask the sheriff to come back next month with the list that was originally gave to him with his findings and what he's done correctly. And would that also include the list from the investigator
Today,
That's fine too, yes.
The full list.
The full list.
and I'll second that motion. Commissioner Green.
We have a motion and a second.
And let me clarify, when I said the sheriff come back, I'm talking about him personally coming back.
Yes, sir. I would not send somebody in my place, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
we're on the same wavelength there. I wanted to give him plenty of time. I feel like that's a little optimistic at 30 days. But I don't want to stretch any further because we are also meeting, I believe, in Gatlinburg, which asking him to come up there would put a stress on. I guess this is more for TCI. I'm sorry.
You might like Gatlinburg.
Yeah, that's true. When does TCI do a follow-up? I know your board meeting's in September.
Yeah, September 6th is the board meeting. We will do, I believe, our follow-up visit is scheduled for Monday.
Okay. So you would be able to have some sort of report before, within 30 days.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
That was just my questions. If the 30 days seemed a little too optimistic with Labor Day weekend, or do we want to extend?
I think as serious as these allegations are, we need to keep it at 30 days. And if we need to reset, once we get to 30 days and see where he's at, we'll do another 30 days.
And we can at least see what the status is within 30 days.
Absolutely.
And we work on holidays.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
But we're gonna have staff email that to you, and we're gonna make a copy for you to have that way you have it in your hands before you leave here today.
Yes, sir, and I will give it to Chief King. Chief King had that original, the list from the last audit. But, you know, Director Bell, you came down on day 8. Now, if I had that list, it will still have been here just like the one that you gave me on day 8. When it was reported that my department, I believe in your words, was you didn't say it all the way, but some type of show. And you stated that it wasn't what y'all have been led to believe. Is that correct, sir?
Right, yeah, and again, we're talking about things that were, allegations and things that we're hearing, which is why we reach out to you to confirm things, look into things. So.
And with me bringing that up, I wanted to say thank you because Director Bello has taken, received my phone calls and has talked to me and tried to help me. I do acknowledge that to this council.
Yes, I believe we were just down there in August. We were down there just at the end of July, August, well, myself, Lakeith, and Keisha went down to work with Lieutenant Seagroves and Mr. King to get some of these stuff, you know, you get your employment files in order and get some of that stuff submitted. So we're definitely willing to go down there and help with you. And I think Mr. Duck was supposed to come back to our next Acatus training class in October to just reinforce some of the things that he learned in our last class. So.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And we've also been reaching out to CTASC as well to help us do some of this administrative issues, and they're resetting all of our computer paperwork. I can't think of the word right now, but.
Acatus?
Excuse me?
Acatus? The Acatus?
No, ma'am, they're helping us redo a whole bunch of, a little bit of everything down there within the office to be able to track stuff better, to have a better tracking system, ma'am.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Does everyone understand the motion? And we have a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Are you clear on what the expectation is for September?
Yes, ma'am, I'm expected to come back in front of the commissioners and give a status on where we are with the list that I'm provided with this, and hopefully to have 100% accountability.
All right. We all want the best for the people of Grundy County and also for the men and women who work for your agency. That's important. And I know because of the liability that's involved here, you certainly want to make sure that all the people who work for you and serve the good citizens of Grundy County have the best people there. That there's no integrity issues and that they get the training that they certainly need. So thanks for being here today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in September.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate that, commissioners. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to be here today to at least give some type of insight from our side. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for Millersville.
Millersville Police Department, post investigators provide follow-up information per the request of the commissioner.
Kevin Creed, post investigator. At our last meeting, I was tasked with going back to Millersville and asking for timesheets, body camera footage, any tickets or arrests that Assistant Chief Allred might have made. Actually, the meeting was held on a Friday. Monday morning, City Manager Avery automatically sent me the timesheets for Allred on his own without me requesting it. I communicated back and forth with City Manager Avery to request those items that the commission wanted. I requested more timesheets. He provided, I believe, April to the present date. I asked for, I believe, the 2 previous months also. I also requested body camera footage of any videos that Allred was involved in, and also swipe card information to go in and out of the building of the Millersville City Hall, which the police department is built into. I met with City Manager Allred and their city attorney, and he provided all that information to me when I was at the office. I also requested from Summit County Sheriff's Department any CAD calls that Allred was involved in. And if you look at the report that I provided, there'll be some discrepancies in timesheets and CAD calls. There was a few CAD calls that Allred was on Summit County's radio system, where he was not actually on a time clock. By looking at the CAD call and matching up his timesheet, there was a couple incidents where he was on the radio but not reporting that time for duty on his timesheet. There was, I believe, 9 separate times that Allred was on the radio where his timesheet did not reflect those times. There was approximately 20 separate dates that showed him entering in Millersville City Hall and not reflecting on his time sheet. Now, I can't prove that those dates that he entered the building, that he worked or did anything. He could have just hung out and talked to people or did anything, sat on the couch and slept. I have no idea what took place when he was in the building. But there was 20 separate dates that weren't on his time sheet where he was actually at the City Hall. There was, let's see, 4 separate body worn camera footages of him performing police duties when his time sheet did not reflect it. So I just want the commission to know that by looking at the timesheets and all the dates that I looked at with the CAD calls and the body worn camera footage, there's no time I could specifically say he worked more than 100 hours in a month period. There are discrepancies where he did work, not on his timesheet, but I can't say he worked more than 100 hours in that pay period. His timesheets all showed 20 hours a week, which complied with post rules. So I cannot prove anything above and beyond 100 hours a month. There are discrepancies, like I said, and that's outlined in the report, but I can't specifically say that he worked 112 hours this month and 60 hours the next month. They were all below 100 hours per month that I could prove on record. Just those entries into the building were a little discouraging, but I can't prove he was actually at work. It's 20 separate dates that his timesheet did not reflect. City Manager Avery did provide an actual hard drive to download videos to. So city, I believe the last commission meeting, one of the commissioners said they want some real transparency with Millersville, and they've been nothing but transparent with me since I've been back there. Communication's been great. They provided everything I requested, and I appreciate that. So the report reflects that I can't prove that Allred worked anything more than 100 hours a month, and also that Chief Brown was working full-time hours, as I was mentioned at the end of last meeting. But he was on light duty, I believe, and wasn't doing any police work, going out of the office. If he did do any out of the office work, he always had a certified officer with him. And both those employees are no longer with us down in Millersville, city of Millersville. So I do not know what the commission would like to do.
I have one question. By chance, did you look at pay stubs?
I did not look at pay stubs. I did speak to, I believe, the payroll or records clerk at the city hall. And she provided me the timesheets that go to payroll. I did not know what their salary was or how much they were making or anything like that. But what she was provided is what they got paid. Okay. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make one comment.
Haven't they both resigned?
Both Chief Brown and Assistant Chief Allred are no longer employed with Millersville Police Department. I believe Chief Brown's going back to school and Allred just resigned the part-time position.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead.
Commissioner Wagner, I believe we referred this to the 18th District Attorney General.
Yes, sir. Ray Whitley, the 18th.
And I had a conversation with Chairman Park yesterday or a couple days ago, and he wanted to get on record that the Attorney General had called him and they had discussed what was going on and his reason for not following up on the prosecution or whatever. And I don't remember all the exact details, but he wanted to get on the record that the Attorney General had called him and they were talking about it. So I don't know if you got any more information or not.
Mr. Whitley has been involved since the last meeting. I would say weekly or bi-weekly with either phone calls or emails back and forth. He did get a copy of this report and he did actually meet with Millersville Police Department. I believe he met with City Manager Avery and their attorney and discussed the situation also to let them know what the situation was.
So it's not like he just didn't care.
No, for the last month, he's been totally involved with me in my investigation and wanted to know the steps along the way. And if anything was very alarming in my eyes, and if so, I addressed that with him.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I was the one who made those comments about the accountability and transparency. And I guess, one, I want to thank the city manager for the efforts that they put in, but also clarify, I guess, looking back, those comments were more directed at the assistant chief and chief and not the administration. And I wanted to clarify that and tell them our appreciation.
Yes,
And
and
have the
like
record reflect that.
I said, they bent over backwards to get the swipe card information into the building. That is something that is a little beyond my scope, I guess, because it's nothing to do about training records or anything like that. And they provided that for me, had no question pretty much. And I was able to view body camera footage with one of the lieutenants in the back room. He opened up their whole system for me to just look through whatever dates I wanted to look at, and City Manager Avery said, just give him whatever he needs. They didn't have the hard drive that day, but they did actually purchase a hard drive to give it to us to put his body camera footage on it, which they no longer work here at the town anymore. So I don't know if you want me to still get that body camera footage and store it or whatever. I did not pick it up because I didn't want to use the expense if we're not going to pursue anything further with the commission.
What is the status of the Millersville Police Department?
They are still working full-time. If you want City Manager Avery to come up.
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Scott Avery, I'm the city manager in Millersville. Just for your information, I also have 18 years of law enforcement, including 5.5 years with the U.S. Border Patrol. On 9/11, I was standing on an international bridge in Brownsville, Texas. So I understand law enforcement. I've dedicated my career to law enforcement, fire service, and I'm also a paramedic. I take the integrity of my team very seriously. And Commissioner, I'm sorry, I think the city of Millersville has been more than transparent throughout this entire process. Mr. Creeps never had an unanswered email, an unanswered question, or an unanswered request for documents from me. And I've been completely open and honest with this. I come from the state of Missouri. The post system works differently there. I am adjusting to Tennessee's. It is unique to me. So I'm trying to understand things, but we got another challenge ahead of us. I've got over 70 applicants for my police chief's position, and probably 60 something of them are out of state. So I'm going to be looking to Investigator Creek to walk me through this process. Because like I said, I come from Missouri, it's different there. So I'll be more than happy to work with him to make sure this new chief comes on board in the direction that you all expect. As far as our department's currently being run by the 2 lieutenants as acting chief. They've been moved to 12-hour shifts. So every single day, one of the 2 lieutenants is working 12 hours. They are covering the call during the bottom 12 hours. All administrative, non-law enforcement matters are being handled by myself. I handle all the HR, all the backgrounds are going through my fingers. Everything is being done by the book. I actually have police officers who are stepping up and pulling larger paychecks than what my city recorder and my fire chief are getting, my full-time fire chief, because they're working so much overtime to keep this city functioning in the right direction. We just got the largest THSO grant we've ever got, right? The largest THSO grant we've ever got because of the work we're putting in. We've improved the equipment, we've improved the policies, we've improved everything. We're getting applicants for police officer that we weren't getting in the past. So what I'm telling you is the Millersville Police Department's moving in the right direction. We don't know what else the expectations are, but we're more than happy to follow those. I will tell you that we have lawsuits coming in on a regular basis where I'm learning things that are causing me to open some stuff up and look at things from the past. But, and just to be completely open with you, my city attorney has started hitting the commission with sunshine requests, and we've been pulling data from the commission on where these complaints are coming from, and I'm very disappointed with what I found out. And Investigator Creed could share that with you off the record, but it's very disappointing what I found out these are coming from. So we have issues there. People don't want the towns in Millersville fixed, but as long as I'm on the clock doing the work, the community is going to get the best they can out of it. But, you know, you guys hear about the police department. I got a sewer system that's broke. I've got roads that are broke. I've got 9-year-old TDOT grants that were never completed. So I'm trying to put all these pieces back together in Millersville, and I keep ending up down here And I have no problem with coming here. Please don't take it that way. I will come here whenever you guys want me to come here and answer questions. But today, just to make sure all the questions are answered, Lieutenant Consiglio is here. Lieutenant Consiglio is our acting chief today because he's on duty. He's also in charge of the CID admin part. So he does the backgrounds and everything. So he's here to answer questions. Also, our GDI Sergeant Scott's here. So if you have questions for either one of them, I wanted to make it available to you today to make sure that you understand that I take this extremely seriously and I'm here to do whatever needs to be done to move the city of Millersville forward. Did I answer your question there?
Yes. Do you have a time frame when you're going to select a new chief and get that ball rolling?
Well, just to share with you, I wish I wouldn't have put August 28th as the closing day because I don't know how I'm gonna go through all these apps. The city attorney and I are actually gonna meet Monday and start going through the stack we have to eliminate anyone that doesn't have the preferred. So we did it, I don't know if everybody saw the app, we did it 10 years law enforcement, 5 years of supervision required. And then preferred was the master's degree, and I believe 15 years, 10 years management. So we're gonna move towards a preferred because we have a lot of people who are hitting their 20 or 25 years at a department and they're eligible for retirement and they're wanting to move to Nashville. And that's what it comes down to is everyone wants to move to Nashville and that's what I'm here. Because Mrs. Avery told me, we're moving to Nashville. And I said, yes, ma'am.
Other questions from the commissioners?
Madam Chairman, do you want to talk to the GDI or my lieutenant?
Anybody have any questions for them? If they need any assistance with getting their officers,
Yes, ma'am.
get their post hours for instance this year, please reach out to the commission staff.
And we're so serious about overdoing this and making sure it's done right. We did 3 in-services this year. And this week was our last one.
Good.
So driver's training was yesterday. So we're overdoing everything to make sure that we're in compliance.
I don't blame you. I take my hat off to you because it sounds like you've got a plate full.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't want to be on that plate, so we appreciate your assistance. And the work of the 2 lieutenants, I can just imagine how they're staying busy.
They are, ma'am. They are, and I really appreciate it. They've kept me in the loop with everything going on. The only thing I want to share back is, and I just want to share it. I know I didn't give Investigator Bello heads up, but I'm trying to get new officers into the academy and I'm having trouble. I have an officer that was hired in May who's now questionable to make January's academy. And I'm not sure what's going on, but it makes it difficult for me to stay in compliance when I'm having these reactions. So Mr. Bello, if you can give me an answer on that and how we get these people into the academy, because we're probably going to hire another non-certified once we get Officer Hobson going to the academy. We're going to hire another non-certified to ride with that FTO that we have open.
And that's a question that's difficult for me to answer because as post, we don't deal with the academy registration part. So that's something that would probably be letter best for Director Kane to answer when he comes back next month, September. And so that he should be back September 14th, I believe. And so you're more than welcome to, we'll get you guys together and communicate and figure that out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
I just have one more thing, if I can speak. I'm just requesting 2 things at this time. One is the hard drive that they were going to provide. Is that something that they could keep, or is that something I need to store with Post, the body camera footage? And also the second thing is I'm asking if we can maybe do a quarterly update with Millersville and be able to go there quarterly, just make sure they are up to date with their information and stuff like that. Just to make sure, like he said, he was hiring a new chief. And that's something that maybe we can assist them and walk them along and just do a follow-up in another quarter from now and see where we're at with that and see who they brought on board and stuff like that, just to bring that news back to the commission.
Sounds like he's requesting a motion from the commission.
I'll make a motion that we do this, Wagner. I'll make a motion that we do it on a quarterly basis. And I really don't see a need for the hard drive to hold on to the hard drive if those guys are gone, unless you guys do.
I would second the motion.
Okay. Did you have another comment over here? Anybody? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, not hearing anything. So Millersville, You understand that we will probably call you back here quarterly. So get an update and also to assist you and hopefully your new chief by then.
Yes, ma'am.
And that we do not feel like we have a need for the hard drive.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I get that correct?
And my expectation would be in October, which is a quarter away, I'd have the chief on board.
Good. Did you have something?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Take care of Millersville.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, new business.
An agreed order to surrender Christopher William McKinney. Mr. McKinney was employed by the Clinton Police Department from July 1st, 2019 until his termination for violations of the agency general orders and policies on September 22nd, 2022. Mr. McKinney has agreed to surrender his post-certification for a period of 1 year. So that's something this is being proposed to the Post Commission as an agreed order and for your consideration.
I have a comment on this one. I think that, is this the one that PTSD, that city had PTSD?
Yeah, he was represented by an attorney that came before posting the informal hearing. There was some matters of mental health issues and
He disclosed he had PTSD. And, will he have to have another psych or anything before he comes back?
he would, yeah, but being that he's been out of full-time law enforcement for more than 6 months, he would have to have a new psychological. at this point.
I just want to make sure. That's what we sort of agreed to. So
Commissioner Wright, so the subcommittee was, what was the finding of that? I guess I'm a little confused.
that the finding was he had a medical PTSD. He, disclosed he had PTSD.
She's having trouble hearing you. Your mic's not on.
Well, the mic didn't work.
Oh, we'll try this one.
But he disclosed he had PTSD, and so it was agreed that he would do this, that he would surrender and have a site before we came back, which is what I'm reading here. Agreed order of surrender.
But it's only been a year. So that's really suspension. We're hearing something from our legal advisor.
And that may be worded incorrectly. You're correct. I think that looks more like a suspension for a year than it would be a surrender for a year.
Yeah, I think the word was suspension. I'm just reading from the paperwork it said. But he agreed to suspension and he agreed he would get a site before he came back. But that was our understanding.
All right, so the recommendation is for suspension for 1 year and to have a psychological examination prior to return of full duty. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
With that, I'll make the motion that we accept it.
So just, I'm sorry to
Go
interrupt.
ahead.
The order that is on the iPads does say an agreed order to surrender. This is Christopher McKinney, correct? So statement of fact, item 3, it does simply say that a respondent informed the Post Commission that he would temporarily surrender his certification, but it doesn't include a date or a time there. So we probably can edit this order if you all want to accept a surrender for a time period. And then Director Bello, you correctly identified yesterday in the rules, a surrender requires reappearing before the commission to reinstate. Alternatively, the commission could put in the order if the certification becomes active on a date certain, or if you want them to reappear to request a waiver. So I think we need to just clarify if you're going to put in a time frame there, and then if you want to have the officer reappear, or if you want to put in the order that it automatically becomes active again. We could just clear those 2 points up.
Again, I think he agreed that he would appear and it would be a year.
Okay.
That's what I remember. Chief Isbell, were you there that day? This is a guy with GPS.
And I don't recall that.
Okay.
I deal with too many of them. I'm struggling.
Well, the reason I remember, because it's close to me. Yes, it's next to Knoxville, so I remember.
So your motion is surrender or suspension for 1 year and to reappear in a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, whatever is best.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, I just want to clear this motion up. So 1 year from what date?
The draft of the order that we have says July 21st of 2023.
So it'll be July 2024.
It looks like he co-signed the agreed order suspension on July 26. So I would prefer to use that date.
Alternatively, you can use the date that it was entered.
Okay.
So we just need to identify which date.
And secondary question that I have is, we're saying he has to appear. That's only to get a waiver if he goes back to work, correct?
Correct.
So you don't physically have to appear unless he's going back.
I think he actually stated that he wasn't going to get back in law enforcement, and that's why we wanted him to appear. If he come back, he has to appear.
So the motion is 1 year from the July 21st, 23rd date,
Signed on 26, let's do 26.
and from July 26, and then a waiver for whenever reemployment. I'll second that motion.
All right, does everyone understand the motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, the motion carries. So now we're ready for Mr. Smith.
Yeah, we have another proposed agreed order of suspension in the matter of Ashton Rashad Smith. Mr. Smith was employed by the Collierville Police Department from July 19th, 2021 until his termination stemming from violations of agency procedures on August 18th of 2022. Mr. Smith has agreed to a 6-month suspension of his post certification.
Can legal refresh our memory, or somebody refresh our memory on what this one?
He came before the informal committee as well, I believe. I think he was the officer that had been involved in the accident and told the department that he couldn't recall how he crashed the car or something to that effect. If you remember.
What Commissioner Wright, what was the recommendation of the informal?
I believe it was to send it to a formal hearing.
I was thinking so.
Right, so where are we?
If I not recall this one, he was untruthful, lied about having a departmental crash in his vehicle, said it was one place and something somewhere else, and went for a while before he even reported it. So there were some pretty serious truthfulness issues going on. And I think that's why the informal had made that motion to carry to the formal.
This Commissioner Green, 6 months doesn't seem like it's a very long suspension.
Commissioner Ryan, I would make a motion that we leave it for a formal hearing.
Commissioner Beverly, second.
Would that be a motion to disapprove?
Yes.
Yes.
Disapprove and then a motion to carry for a formal hearing, is that right?
So we do have the statement from the Cardinal Police Department if the commission needs a refresh. I'm not sure if it's in the packet, but I did print it. If y'all need that.
I can just read this if you'd like. Okay, this is from the statement of the hearing officer for Collierville Police Department. It says on August 14th, 2022, Officer Ashton Smith notified his supervisors that he had a low tire and was waiting for another officer to bring him a spare tire, never mentioning being involved in a crash. Through further investigation, it was learned that Officer Smith had been in a private property crash on the carriage crossing lot where he ran his assigned CPD vehicle over a curb, causing damage to the right front rim and alignment of the vehicle. He repeatedly denied being in a crash, and after reviewing in-car video, advised that he did not recall hitting anything, stating he fell asleep. His daily log entries were inconsistent with the in-car video. During the review of the video, Officer Smith is seen driving into opposing lanes of traffic and overcompensating as if he were under the influence. He stated he may have been texting while driving. At the time of the crash, the video demonstrates that Officer Smith applied his brakes just before impact and drove the vehicle left to avoid additional impacts with other landscape fixtures. This indicates that he was awake during that time, even after getting out of the vehicle and noticing the damage to the rim. He never advised his supervisor of the damage. After review of the video, it was approximately 1 hour after the collision before he notified his field commanders of a low tire. Officer Smith was counseled 4 separate times prior to August 14th, 2022 for being late for his shift. The last time on August 1st, 2022, you received a written reprimand. He was laid on August 14th, 22 as well.
So he was terminated from Collierville, is that right? It's been a year.
Yes.
Well, what happened, I think what happened was we referred it to the full commission, and what he's done now is trying to render his.
And if I remember correctly too, when I specifically asked him about hitting the curb, you did not realize you hit a curb and it was no. Like, so
I think I'm across the parking lot or something.
I think we need to carry it to a formal hearing. And that's a motion, deny this proves this and move to a full commission.
Okay, so you withdraw the other motion, and so the motion.
Well, I think it's the same.
Oh, okay.
I'm just rewording it again.
All right, let's make sure that our paralegal has got it straight for the minutes. We're requesting that this be moved to a formal hearing.
That is correct. And disapproving this agreed order of suspension.
Right, okay, and we have a second.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no? All right, carries. All right, University of Memphis, Department of Public Safety.
The University of Memphis Department of Public Safety, in the matter of Christopher DeBryan Lamar Taylor, he was hired October 10th of 2022. However, post did not receive required pre-employment paperwork until July 21st of 2023. We have received everything and everything's up to date.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Green, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. And then we have a post-investigative report regarding the Deckard Police Department.
On July 26th of 2023, post investigators received a complaint regarding the Deckard Police Department. During the post investigation, it was discovered that non-certified officers had been working in the solo function.
Kevin Grieve, post investigator. We did get this complaint that Deckard had some officers working uncertified, also an issue with their K-9 officer, which was beyond our scope. I did pay a visit to the Deckard Police Department and met with the chief and assistant chief, who are both present here today. I expressed the complaint to them, and they did totally say they did have two officers that have been working uncertified on patrol. One of them is currently in the academy now, but he did work alone solo patrol for a period of time before he went to the academy. And it was a second officer that was working the road. The day of my visit, he has been working solo patrol. After I informed them of the post rules again, they immediately said they were going to make that officer ride with an FTO or another certified officer again. They did provide me with their dates of hire and the dates that they cut loose from the FTO program. They also provided me training records for them that they did go through an EVOC class and a fireman class before they were released from FTO. But if you look in the report, we'll have specific officers' names. I believe one is Officer Simmons and one is Officer Allen, and the dates they were released from the FTO program to work solo patrol. One of the officers wrote 0 tickets without another certified officer. One of the solo officers wrote some municipality tickets as a solo officer. That's something that I said that their city court may have to address. But they were totally understanding of our visit and complied of my request to make them be paired up with an officer at that day.
All right. Are there representatives here from the Deckard Police Department?
Yes.
Would you like to approach the podium and identify yourself?
My name is Chief Jeff Griffin. This is Assistant Chief Paul Bennett.
All right. Is what we just heard, all of that's been corrected, or where do you stand?
Everything's been corrected. Everything was corrected as soon as Mr. Grieve left the police department.
So you have one of the two that's currently in the state academy,
He's up
and the second one is riding with a training officer.
Yeah, he's right with our Sergeant Talawami, he's FTO.
Questions by the commission?
Mr. Wright, I have a few. Chief, how big of a department is that? How many officers?
So right now we have 11 full-time patrol. We have myself, assistant chief, and 2 investigators.
Who in your department or somebody else made the decision to allow those to ride solo?
That was my fault.
Was you not aware that you just can't take somebody and give them a gun and a badge and put them in the car and say, have fun?
So I interpreted paired being with, maybe paired with somebody on shift. It doesn't specifically say paired in a vehicle with somebody in post rules. I did advise him that it was my fault, my wrongdoing. I misinterpreted that. My fault only.
Just think about it from the liability
Sure,
side of
I'm saying
it,
yes.
of what you put the department in the city yourself personally
Correct. Yes.
in by doing that. I think that's one of the biggest things to point out. Appreciate you making the correction.
You're welcome. And I do want to apologize to y'all. Like other departments, we try to do things by the book, and that was my fault. I took over in July 2021 as chief. Pretty young, I'm only 33, so I'm pretty young. Been there 14 years. That's my mistake, my apologies. It will never happen again. Just I will let you know. Thank you.
Commissioner Russell.
Commissioner Russell, chief is the uncertified officer, want to go to the academy.
Yes, he's enrolled in the October class.
That's great. We need all we can get. Thank you.
So thank you.
Anyone else have a question? I think we need a motion on this.
I make a motion to accept the investigative report.
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, the motion carries.
And just so you know too, just if he needs to come back down to a follow-up, he's more than welcome to. Whatever he needs to do, whatever y'all decide to do, we'll be more than happy to follow y'all rules, do whatever he needs to do to be compliant.
Please do, chief, and we appreciate you being here today.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at the point of public comment. Is anybody signed up for public comment?
We have no one signed up.
Any further on that? Then I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. We are adjourned.